everyone. Good day and welcome to this class. This is Oral Communication or Core 1, and I am Sir Donny Santiago. And this day we will be discussing about Module 1. So before we start, I'd like to ask you, what do you know about oral communication? Again, the question is, what do you know about oral communication? You may just want to write your answers or um, type in your answers in our Google Classroom comments so that it will be a stepping stone for us or for me to know what do you know about this subject. So once more, we will be talking about Module 1, and it will be the nature and elements of communication. So we have a question in here. So it is about what comes into your mind when people say no man is an island. Again, I want you to think in your creative minds the answer to this question. What comes into your mind when people say no man is an island? So moving on, lesson 1 will be about the nature of communication. So we have here the different definitions of the word communication. Communication then is a process of sharing and conveying messages or information within and across channels, different contexts, different media, and cultures. This is according to McCornack in 2014. When we say a process of sharing and conveying messages, communication is somehow a very fundamental, a very essential, or very important part of our lives. It has made us to convey or to send messages to people or to send messages of information to other people for us to be understood or for us to understand other people as well. It is also notable to say that communication can be face-to-face interaction, a phone conversation. It can also be a group discussion, a meeting, or interview. It can also be a letter of correspondence. It can also be a class recitation, and many others. So we do have a lot of definition when we say oral communication. Moving forward, according to Wood in 2004, communication is a systematic process in which individuals interact with and through symbols to create and interpret meanings. Therefore, when we say that communication follows a process, it then has to follow a step-by-step procedure. Communication then has to start with step 1, then it needs to follow by step 2, then step 3, and so on and so forth until we reach the goal of why we are communicating to other people. Moving forward, we have the following qualities that should be inherent in communication. We have the communication is a process. When we say a process, just what I have said a while ago, it is a continuing condition of life. It is also a process that changes as communicators, environments, and needs change. What I am trying to say is that there are words that are used before that we are not familiar right now. On the other hand, there are also words that we are using today that the people way back then doesn't use. An example is or are the words emoji, or they can also be called as emoticon or selfie. These words does not exist in the past. But we also have the words thee, thy, or the words Anglo, which are being used in the past but are not being used right now. So that is what we mean by communication is a process. Moving forward, communication is also systematic. What I am trying to say is that communication involves different components which are linked with one another as a part of a system, meaning to say, the absence of one component of communication is or will have a huge impact to the process of it. Later on, we will then know what is the process or the system of a communication. Next is communication is also symbolic. We do know that in communication, it also involves symbols, which can be verbal or it uses words. It can also be nonverbal or without words. These are the basis of language. Either way, we can communicate with verbal or nonverbal communication, which is a very, very important part in communicating with people around us. Moving forward, this will be the last quality of communication. This is communication involves meaning. Contrary to what many think or believe, meanings are assigned, given, or invented and not received. For example, the flags, the crowns, the traffic signals do not contain meanings. Instead, their meanings are assigned to them. What I am trying to say is that people assign meanings to things. We have a crown. We all know that a crown symbolizes power. A crown symbolizes being a leader into a monarch country. And you do not interpret its meaning because it is already assigned. We also have colors. For example, when we say color red can mean love, war, blood, or anger, but its meaning is not interpreted by those who receive it. It is being assigned by the one who said it or by the one who wrote it. And that is a very essential part in communication as well as in literature. As of the moment, let us proceed now to lesson 2. This is the elements of communication. We have the following elements of communication. We will talk about these one by one. First is the speaker. Speaker is the source of information or message. When we say the source, communication happens at or happens from the speaker itself. There can never be any process of communication without the speaker, of course. A speaker can be your classmate, can be your family member, or can be your friend, or someone that wants to send you a message. Then we have the message. The message, of course, is very, very familiar for everyone. Message means these can be the information, the different ideas or thoughts conveyed by the speaker in words or in actions. It is very, very evident that message can be either verbal or non-verbal. From the speaker, we now have a message, and of course, the message needs to be encoded, and that will be the next element of communication. Encoding. It is the process of converting the message into words, actions, or other forms that the speaker understands. How will be the speaker going to deliver the message? And that is followed now by the channel. The channel is the medium or the means, such as personal or non-personal. It can be through verbal or through non-verbal ways of communicating. It can also be by different ways of sending messages through online or whatever is available. Let us move forward now to the next slide. Here we can learn that The speaker sends messages through channels which transmit his or her ideas and feelings to the listener. The major channels that we have in communicating are visual, which uses light, and auditory, which of course uses sounds. The visual channel that we know enables the communicators to send and receive visible information such as hand gestures, bodily movements, and facial expressions. We do know that these nonverbal ways of communicating sends messages to people, like a simple nod will mean yes, a simple thumbs up will mean yes as well, or a simple um, moving your head from left to right will mean no. These are some bodily movements and gestures that we already know. The auditory channel as well, on the other hand, enables the listeners to receive information and interpret it through the tone, the volume, the pitch of the speaker's voice. There are times when the information of the messages will be disrupted. These disruptions, which prevent messages from being interpreted, are known as noise. But before we move forward, let us note that the tone, the volume, and the pitch of the speaker's voice will also affect the interpretation of the receiver of the speaker's message. Please do take note of that. Let us now move forward to the two different types of noise. We have the external noise, and we also have the internal noise. First up will be external noise. These include sights, sounds, and any other distractions in the physical environment. An example can be an unattended phone ringing very loudly, vehicles or loud music in the place where communication situation happens. When we say external, it is the noise that is coming from your external body. Again, when we say external noise, these are the noise which happens outside your body. Now, we have the internal noise. Internal noise refers to the distraction within the communicator. It can be categorized as either the following: the physiological or biological noise. This is an example of hearing loss or illness. There will be times that when we are not feeling well, we do not understand the messages properly. And this is an example of physiological or biological noise which belongs to internal noise. On the other way around, we also have the psychological noise. These includes worrying or daydreaming or semantic noise, such as using jargons. Now, you might be asking what jargons are. These are technical words that often other people don't understand. Example will be teachers. We do use the following terms: PG, we also have LP, we also have CG. These are terms that other people who does not belong or who doesn't have any knowledge in educational field will not understand. These are categorized as jargons. Again, jargons are technical words that are being used by people which cannot be understood by other people. When we say semantic noise, on the other hand, this is about the errors in grammar or the errors in pronunciation then. Moving forward, we also have these elements in communication to add. We have decoding. This is the process of interpreting the encoded message of the speaker by the receiver. After encoding the message, the receiver then decodes it. And when we say receiver, they are the recipient of the message or someone who decodes the message. It is very important to note that a receiver can be many. It is depending on where or to whom the speaker sends the message then. To be followed by the feedback. The feedback are the reactions or responses or information provided by the receiver. In layman's term, feedback can be a reply, but please do take note that feedback may or may not include words. A simple facial reaction or a simple gesture can also be considered as a feedback. On the other hand, no feedback at all can also be considered as a feedback as well. Lastly, we have the context. This is the environment where communication takes place. It can be about social context, it can be about political context then, it can also be about the physical context or the environment where the communication happens. Let us now move forward on the next slide. We have the different types of context. First is the physical context. This refers to the physical location of the communication. Is the communication process happening on a very noisy place? Or does the communication process happens in a very quiet place? Next is the social context. This relates to the type of connections that exist between or among the communicators as well as the interactions formality. Are we talking about social classes? Or does the communication happen between rich people, between the middle class people, or between the people who are considered to be poor? This relates to the social context. Moving forward, we have the psychological context. This involves the communicator's moods and feelings. It is also very important to note that when we do not want to listen, or when we are afraid, when we are angry, or when we are sad or happy, it has an effect in interpreting or receiving the message. Lastly, we have the cultural context. It is imposed or composed by beliefs, values, and norms shared by a large group of people. For example, in the Philippines, it is natural in our culture for us to eat balot, but in other countries, it is not accepted as well. Another example is in Thailand. It is normal for them to have liposuction or other things that they will do in their body. But in the Philippines, it is not accepted, and that is a taboo. And because of that, we do not want to talk about it. And that is an example of cultural context. We have here the different types of barriers. When we say barrier, these are the factors that affect the flow of communication. We have the using of jargon that we have talked a while ago. Next is the lack of confidence of the speaker or the receiver of the message. This is or this will be affecting the process of communication as well. We also have the emotional barriers. Just what I have said a while ago, when we are sad or lonely or afraid or happy, these might influence on how we interpret or send the messages. Of course, it is very important to note that a noisy environment also has an effect to the process or flow of communication then. Lastly, we will be having the process of communication. Communication has become an innate part of our being that only a few percent of the human population question the process involved when we interact with each other. When we say innate, it is or it will always be there, or it will always be natural for human beings to communicate with each other. Of course, without communication, how are we going to inform, to persuade, or to communicate with other people? Moving forward, we have this process of communication. Let us talk about this one by one. The process of communication starts from the speaker who generates the idea. Then the speaker encodes and transmits an idea or converts the idea into words or actions. The speaker then sends the message. Afterwards, the receiver gets the message. Next, the receiver decodes or interprets the message based on the context of the situation where the communication process is happening. Lastly, the receiver sends or provides feedback, going back to the speaker. We have here an example. Daphne loves Rico, which is her suitor, as a friend. She thinks of how to tell him using their native language. Then, she tells him, Rico, mahal kita bilang kaibigan. Rico hears what Daphne says. He tries to analyze what she means based on the context and their relationship, and he is now heartbroken. He frowns and does not say something because Rico is in so much pain. And that is an example of a process of communication. Thank you so much for watching this video. We will be having activities after you will watch this. Good day everyone and enjoy the rest of the day.